to the meat of the call here today, Tom?
You know, Timmy says yes.
Timmy says yes. I'm gonna get you a T-shirt that says Timmy says yes. All right,
No, stop.
we are going to be
Stop your
talking.
brain.
Yeah, we're going to be talking just in kind of a general sense about the book Limitless by Jim Quick today. And I know we've been beating it up in the Leaders Lab, talking about chapter by chapter over the course of the last probably 5 or 6 weeks. Pretty thick book, a lot of good content in there. And we just wanted to take this opportunity now that we're kind of getting to the tail end of it to just share our takeaways from that book, because Paige and I were talking about it. It is this book is inspiring in a lot of ways. And I think for me, one of the biggest things about it is he shows step by step that the ability to expand your knowledge, your learning ability, your retention, anything is just a learned process, right? And it's something that everyone's capable of. And I think, from an early age in the school system, we could go off on a huge tangent about education in this country. But from an early age, it is kind of ingrained in the system that there are those who are gifted and those who are not. And the gifted get to accelerate, and the rest of us, kind of hang behind with the pack. And what we learn reading Limitless is that, that model really isn't true, and that sort of acceleration of learning and the ability to expand your view and your focus and your knowledge is available to all of us if we just take some simple steps and do it. And I think Jim Quick does a great job illustrating that. And so we wanted to, and we kind of prepped the leaders on the team for this call to share some takeaways. But I want to encourage anybody who's been reading along with us or has been attending the Leader Labs to definitely throw your hand up, jump in with your thoughts or what impacted you the most as we were going through this book. And we just want to talk about it because ultimately, I think you can draw a massive parallel between what Jim Quick talks about in expanding your mind, expanding your knowledge, expanding your ability to learn, and this business, right? Because there is no, golden bullet or single characteristic that determines whether or not somebody is going to be successful here. There's no predictability in. Oh, Tom's got something. Hold on, Tom.
No,
Let me finish
no.
this thought, or I'm going to lose it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's no single factor of work experience or education that tells us in an interview whether somebody is going to be successful. We've got people from all walks of life who come in here, change their future, change their family's future for generations to come. And it's just such an encouraging mindset to be in that, that sort of opportunity is available to everyone just from walking in the door here. And so wanted to talk about that a little bit today. And Tom, I know you're ready to get things going here.
I can either get things going or wait till the end. It's cool. I just wanted to add something on this book itself.
Yeah, go for it.
Hunter, you've read a lot before you got here. I mean, I
Yeah.
know this. I know this. I've seen you. It's incredible. But think about this. This is one of these books for me that will be within arm's reach no matter what every single day. That's saying something because when you find something that you go back to and you refer to, not just going through it once, twice, 3 times, whatever, or just grabbing something and say, I remember something in there, I got to grab it. That's one of these books for me. It's in, I don't know if I have a top 10, but it's within arm's reach for me. So that's all I wanted to add. It's been a really good book.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One that's going to be in arm's reach. It's funny being here I'm at my mom's house right now, and I was kind of looking through the bookshelves here and found a book from Malcolm Gladwell that I read years and years ago. If you haven't ever read Malcolm Gladwell, I highly encourage you to go pick up literally anything he's written. An amazing journalist, amazing researcher. But it's called Outliers. Tom, have you read that one?
No, I'm putting it on my list. I got a long.
I'll send it to you. But
you will?
It's amazing to pick that book back up after reading Limitless, because Outliers talks about the key factors to people's success. And he goes through 5 or 6 different examples and breaks it down by age, by where you're born, by how many, all of these different factors. But the one that really sticks out to me, the one chapter that really sticks out is the 10,000 hour rule. And the 10,000 hour rule says that if you want to perfect anything that you do, you have to have 10,000 hours of practice, right? Simple as that. And you see, and if you look back at something, a skill you've developed, whether it's music or sports or business, something, look back at a skill you've developed over your life and think about that turning point where all of a sudden you stopped being a student and started being somebody who could teach and expand themselves in that discipline. And you realize that often happens right around that 10,000 hours of practice mark. And so picking that book up, kind of right at the tail end of reading Limitless, again, I think just goes to show that it just takes persistence. We can all do anything we set our minds to if we're just persistent in practicing it. And so that was my big takeaway. I want to give the opportunity for the other leaders to pop on and share theirs. So let's open up the floor, Tim.
All right,
Tim,
you got
Tom?
it. Or heck with it. I'll start, and then I'll give everybody a shot to jump in. But one thing I want to share the screen real quick just to make a little bit of a correlation, Hunter, to what we were talking about with the 5 steps. Can you see that?
I can.
Yeah, cool. This is the well, what the heck is what level of competency? It usually is in a pyramid, but I found one in a stair step, and it really made sense to me for this business. Because when you first come in here, you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know, and you're a novice, and you're trying to figure things out. Then the next step, which relates to, becoming contract, doing all this stuff, you become consciously incompetent, which means you know what you don't know, and you're starting to become more of an advanced beginner. Then you take that next step, and now you become consciously competent, meaning you're proficient. You're figuring out that the dialing is the key to success. You're putting in the 1,000 dials. You're comfortable with that. And then as you move up the next step, you become unconscious in your competence, meaning you just go do it. And then with anything, and Jim Quick explains this so well, when greatness isn't born, it's grown. And it really, anything great or mastery or becoming an expert is all from putting in the work and being consistent in it. And I wanted to share that before I got into mine, because I thought it made a really cool parallel on it. I'll post it.
Actually, would you mind popping that back up? Because that illustrated something that I've never really seen before, but it makes so much sense, right? Because, when you reach that expert level, you reach that unconscious competence, you have still growth to do, right?
Oh, heck yeah.
That's not the end result. And I love this little squiggle line that
yeah.
goes from expert down to complacency.
Ooh, that's
right.
Dangerous.
Because you have a choice. When you become unconsciously competent in something, you have a choice. And so many people, I think, in the world choose to stop at expert and become complacent in their talent rather than continuing to chase mastery and world class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how
Yes,
often do we
absolutely.
how often do we see somebody stop at agency owner or stop at agency director and say, I'm comfortable now, I don't, and they don't pursue that next level, or they stop at 130 managing vice president and they stop elevating their people to the level that takes them to equity partner, right? There's so many opportunities here to continue your growth beyond reaching that expert phase. And what I love this because it serves kind of as a cautionary tale is when you hit that expert phase, when you hit what is your goal now, right? If your goal now is agency owner, remember that you need to set another goal once you achieve that. You need to have an agency director goal. You need to have a 130 goal. You need to have an equity partner goal to keep you going, to keep you from becoming complacent and really get you to that world-class level of mastery.
Isn't that so true? I'm glad you picked up on that. I wasn't going to go on the complacency yet, but I love it, man. Yeah, that's the best version of that pyramid I've seen, and it relates to our steps. And the thing here, Hunter, that I got out of this book was, when you create the life you want, it can be super scary. It really can, right? You were just talking about the complacency part. You get to a certain part and you have a little success, and but what's worse? I think it's the regret. of not going farther. I think that's even more scary as and he talked about his lies, the limited ideas entertained. And we've been talking a lot about the mental side of this, and it's really difficult to accomplish anything or even something, the littlest thing, if you don't believe in it. I mean, it really, really is. Hell, I had a puke bucket over here because I didn't believe I could dial. I thought I was going to throw up. Probably did, but I won't. It's neither here nor there. But we all have this potential. We all have this. We all have the ability to get to where we want in this business, if it's top of the company, agency owner, whatever it is. But we let ourselves off the hook with this responsibility of what it takes to get there, that effort, that consistency, because we think, oh, I can't do that. I can't do what Paige does in a month. That, but it would let ourselves off the hook and we don't even try. And
It's funny that you bring that up, Tom. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
you know, you said, we get the mindset I can't do what Paige does in a month. Well, 2 months ago, Paige couldn't do what she did in a month.
That's my
right?
next point.
Well, sorry, Tim.
No, that's good. No, and I'm glad you said that because it comes from a different voice. You don't compare yourself against others, right? In this business, you compare yourself against your yesterday. What were you like yesterday? And I admire Paige for looking back and all the things that we've accomplished and move forward on, because the only comparison that counts is what we did yesterday and how we are today. And you're not your mistakes. It's how you deal with it. That's what defines us, not making a mistake. And we've been talking about consistency a lot. I've said that like 5 times today, but it's what gets you there. It's knowledge times action equals your power. And don't promise yourself, don't promise, don't promise yourself you can do it. Prove it. That's more powerful than anything. And with having patience and being consistent, and I love this line because this quote hit me like a 2x4 on the side of the head when we were reading it, because it was a part that just really made sense to me. And he says, quote, "It's not your job to like, love, and respect me. It's mine, because I'm worthy of it." You all on this call, you're worthy of creating this new life. Yes, there's challenge. Yes, there's going to be things. Yes, you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to become efficient. You're going to have to work effectively, all that. But I'm just telling you, when you believe in yourself, you can get wherever you want. You can achieve whatever you want. And whether that's family, whether that's work, whether that's anything. So just really, truly lean into that. Believe in yourself. Tell yourself you can do this, and, compare yourself to yesterday, and that's it.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome, Tom. And you're so, so right. The comparison game here is just, it's an abyss you don't want to go down, right? Don't compare, learn. Be a student, be ready to learn from the people who are succeeding rather than compare yourself to them, and see how your business starts to grow from there. So, Mr. Boombastic.
Howdy, howdy. So I wanted to take this to the other section of this, like major section of this thing. That way, when it comes to things, it's the health portion of it, right? So I had personally been getting all these reminders and these things. Oh, it's been 7 years, 8 years, whatever, since the military. And I'm looking at myself, I'm like, I don't know, like anything like that anymore. Like I was like 150 pounds soaking wet. What was it in my prime in the military? Then some 75 pounds more than I am now. I mean, that's what I am now. I'm looking at things. I mean, like, okay, like what happened here? What happened there? Like starting doing the comparison to my old self, which you can't do. Started compare, and I've been looking at different things like colon stuff. And after reading this book, it really goes into, obviously, your gut determines what your brain thinks, and your brain decides what it wants your gut to have. And it's just an endless cycle that you can't get out of. So I really embraced that. And so that's what as soon as we got to that chapter, and I think I was the one hosting when we actually talked about that. I think it was me and Ibla that may have been the one talking about that, exactly talking about it. I went and ordered that gut cleanse. I've never done one before. Like full flush. These things, they're interesting. Let's just say to say the least. But I feel more energetic. I feel more of the side. I'm waiting to get all the way through to start my full workout routine because if you ever done a gut cleanse, you know why. Uh, but I mean, just that fact, like I'm down about 7 pounds, and I am in already a size less than I was before because of the bloating and things like that, and my brain is a lot clearer. I've realized I don't have to take my ADHD medication as nearly as much because I can concentrate a little bit more because I'm not focusing on my gut. It's really weird how those add. And when we were finishing the book, I added one last thing. It's funny how pregnancy, right, can do things to a woman, and the craving she has is her brain telling and her gut telling her what she wants. She wants pickles. She's missing some type of stomach acid or some type of acid. She's craving ice cream. She's missing some calcium in her diet. She's craving meat. It's iron, and so forth. All these things are scientifically proven that that's what the baby wants, and that's what their body is lacking in nutrition. But then they just link those things to something else they've already had. So it's really funny how our brain really thinks. That's one of the biggest things I got out of this book is just how much our brains really determine our mind, like how we think and our food and what our food does to us. So it's just cool. I could go on forever about it, but
No, I love that. What does it mean when I'm craving ice cream?
that just means that it's called that sympathy. It's sympathy ice cream.
Sympathy ice cream. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
No, Josh, thank you for sharing that. That's a great point to bring out is that, we talk in Limitless, we're talking a lot about the mind, but, it really is a holistic process, right? Bringing the entire body into play and focusing on the health of the entire body to increase the health and vitality of the mind. And I love that approach, Josh, that you're taking, and that you're stepping out on a limb and trying something brand new. Congratulations, bud. Glad that's working out for you. All right, Miss, I'm gonna go a little bit different direction here. Miss Impeccable.
Oh,
Ooh, see, we now have a lot of different ways we can go with this.
He's got to find the foundation first.
Yeah.
I always used to tell people, I was like, it's spelled IBLE, just like the end of the word impossible, but that has nothing to do with my character. Mainly because I'm a stubborn person and I love to be right. But that's either here nor there. So I was like, it's people say it all the time. Anyway, so I really enjoyed this book. We did 2 chapters a week for so long. It feels like I was like, what were the first chapters about again? When we were kind of looking over what we were going to do. But this really is so holistic about how to improve any aspect of your life, whether it's your actual physical health, your brain health, some skills, things like that. I love the section on speed reading. That blew my mind. I did the little test of like, because I've always been a reader. I literally got in trouble in 2nd grade for reading books when I was supposed to be paying attention in class because reading for fun was more fun. I wanted to listen to all the stories and I wanted to read them. So my parents learned to not send me to my room because I was like, okay. I was like, totally fine. I was the kid like, oh, you want me to sit in my room all day and read? Fine. No TV? Fine. But this book, it really talks about in the first section getting focused, being in a flow state, and really preparing yourself to, like, if you're going to learn a new skill, this is how you can maximize the time that you spend on it. This is how you can, you can read faster. You can even use AI to help you study and manage your time. And that even though you feel like you may not be able to learn something, that 10,000 hour rule that you were talking about, it's really about what you're focusing on. And if you take 10,000 hours, you could do 100 hours in a year. It's like 18 minutes a day. I heard somebody else say that. I did not do the math. But if you want to get something better in 10 years, you can do 18 minutes a day. That's like if you were going to practice the violin or something like that. If you want to do it faster, maybe you double your time. Or maybe you know, get a coach or a teacher that's going to help you improve faster. So it just depends on your level of focus and how quickly you want to learn that skill. And I know we talk about this all the time. Whatever you focus on grows. So, you know, while I've been reading this book, I've been reading a couple of other books on personal development and really focusing on that aspect of the business. So, you know, focusing on the business versus in the business. You know, when it comes to, you know, dialing, I can make dials. When it comes to underwriting for an appointment, I can do that. Comes to running a sales presentation, I'm super confident because I've had a lot of one public speaking training before, but two, I've done that a lot. But really what I needed to focus on it was on my business, you know, how to run it effectively, how to be a better leader, how to be a better person myself, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that's really been my focus the past couple of months. So I was looking back through my journal to see like what notes I took on Limitless, and it was like all notes in the other books I was reading. I was like, well, I was just applying the techniques in this book and not really taking a lot of notes on it. But you know, to echo what Tom said, I'm definitely like I probably would read it again, reread the first section because it's broken down into, you know, mindsets. One of the three sections. The mindset, motivation, methods, and momentum. So like you have to have those right methods, yes, but you have to have the motivation to complete those methods and then keep it going to do that um to keep going at it, to get to that 10,000 hours of proficiency, because no matter what you've been doing, you get to hour number 500 and you're like, oh my God, I cannot study anymore. And we've all had that brain burnout, you know, when we're studying for finals. You know, you got to switch subjects, you got to take a break, you got to walk around the block, whatever it is, but you have to have the motivation and to get back to it, to keep that momentum going. Yes, bless you, Barbara. We saw this. But like I just love the book as a whole. And every time I eat blueberries or avocado or leafy green vegetables, I know that that's brain food. I actually had some walnuts that I actually don't know how long they've been sitting in the cabinet, but they didn't smell bad, so they went in my oatmeal yesterday morning. So I was just like, hey, I'm gonna throw blueberries and walnuts in there. And then I had, you know, a salad the other day that I put avocado on. I was like, ooh, brain food. So kind of using those things to really kind of improve just about every aspect of your life. So if you haven't read Limitless yet, for a couple people that I know are brand new, I actually have two brand new agents on the call, Riley and Mary. I'll shout them out. Thanks for being here. Kudos to you for showing up day one. But this book is really awesome. I mean, it's a thick one, but it's not like super sciencey and oh my God, I can't understand it. So it's a really good book. Plus, there's a lot of videos that Jim Quick does to go along with it. So you can even check out all of his YouTube videos. So I just like the whole book. That's all.
Love it, love it, love it, Evelyn. I love you know, your point about transitioning from working in your business to working on your business. And that's such an important distinction to make. You'll hear a lot of the top level leaders in this company use that exact line, right? Learn how to work on your business rather than in your business, and that's the absolute goal. And that's the goal of the evolution, right? Within Symmetry, what got you to where you are will not get you to the next step. You have to grow, you have to transition. And well, it sounds like, you know, through reading this book and the several others that you've got open right now, you're making a big transition to the next step. So congratulations, and thank you for sharing that with us. All right, Mama Margot.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to admit that I didn't finish the whole book. I fell behind and trying to catch up, but tagging along with that book, I'm reading What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And there's a lot of parallels going on. Denisha, you're reading that one also? It is a fantastic book that I really recommend. It's not a very thick book, but it just talks about how you can talk to yourself and change your mindset on just believing what you can do. And I mean, it's a fantastic book for getting your mind in the right place. And it's amazing, you know, self-talk can either tear you down or build you up. And just even when you're setting goals, it's like, I think I can do this, or I want to do this, instead of I'm going to do this. It just really changes how you approach things. And, you know, I think a lot of it parallels the book that we're talking about here, but it's, you know, it's a great supplement, and it's a very short read, and I would really recommend it because I'm working on that every day on just how to change my mindset and talking to myself. I mean, I've got something in the shower that's stuck to the shower wall now that it's hard to read because I don't wear my glasses in the shower, but I try. Maybe I need to write it bigger. But it's just, I really recommend it because it tags along very well with this book. And how, as far as I've gotten in the book we're talking about, it's just a valuable book as well. And listening to you guys talk about it today, I've got to break it back open and pick up where I left off. That's what I have.
I love that. And Margaret, was it what you say when you're talking to yourself?
What to say when you talk to yourself?
What to say when you talk to yourself? I'm gonna go pick that up, or maybe I'll just borrow it from your house next time I'm by there.
Well, it's on audio, so but
no,
you can listen to audio. Yeah, it's by Shan, HELMSF, or excuse me, FETTER.
that sounds like an eye test.
Just to type in what to say when you talk to yourself.
One or two.
No, I love that, and it's so true, right? We don't think about that, but somebody pointed this out the other day, and I think it actually might have even been Limitless or one of the other books I've got cracked open. But we hear and believe everything we say about ourselves.
I mean, how many times have you been told no in your life? I think from a baby, when they start grabbing things, it's no, you can't take that. No, you can't do this. And that no just sticks in your head. And I mean, just changing little things, like I said, where I think I can do that, or I'm going to try that. And I'm just changing it to, instead of I think I can do that, to I will do that. I will lose 10 pounds. I will stick to the 75 hard. I will do that. Instead of, I can do that. No, you will do it. And just changing how you say little words, how you say to yourself, then you can start believing them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And actually, bear with me because this is going to be a little bit of a weird parallel, but I'm going to go ahead and draw it here really quick. When we got little puppy boy Boji, and he was 2 months old, and we were taking him to dog training classes down there at PetSmart. One of the first things that the trainer told us was, don't use the word no with your dog. Don't train them to respond to the word no. Use something else. Use or or my dad uses the word ack when his dog's doing something that he doesn't want to do, because what they find with animals is that we say the word no so often throughout the course of a day that if you train your dog to respond to no, they're going to start thinking that they're misbehaving when the baby does something, or when you're responding to a question your spouse asks you. And we say no so much that you don't want to train your animal to respond to that. You want to train them to respond to something else. So again, just the power of words and how we use it, even when it comes down to pet training, really kind of gives you an awareness of the language we use day to day. So love that, Margaret. Love that you're reading that book or listening to that book. And I'm excited to check it out for myself. Jordan, super excited to hear from you. And guys, again, if you're, anybody who wants to chime in on this, please, we'd love to hear from you. But Jordan, what's up? Oh, there
Took
she
me a
is.
second to find my mic. Sorry about that. I'm nursing my baby, so I'm not on camera.
All good.
My 5-year-old's listening in too, and he was kind of laughing of how many times we say no in a day. He's 5, so. But something that that Margaret was saying there, I was listening to a book, Get Out of Your Own Way by Dave Hollis. He's deceased now. He died last year, but he said kind of what you were saying too, like anything you say out loud, you also hear. So, I don't know if I can hear my 5-year-old. He said hi too, but so it's like, something that I thought about, and granted, I'm still pretty new. I haven't started dialing quite yet. I'll get there. But something that I thought about was like, okay, if I was like in the middle of speaking to someone on the phone, would I be like, even if I like made a mistake, would I say, oh, I'm so stupid? Like right there on the phone, right? Like, would I want the person on the other end of the phone to hear that? No, even if I was having that thought process. So why would I say that in a different circumstance, even if I was standing in a room by myself? Because I'm the one who's still going to hear it, and I'm the one who's still going to feel that. So it's like whatever you say out loud, you are also hearing and internalizing.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a great point. And I think if there's one lesson that I hope we all learn from this call and from this conversation, from this book, is to guard how we speak to ourselves, right? Because Tom, as you said, we deserve better, right? We deserve to speak to ourselves with compassion and with respect and with forgiveness, and we deserve the growth that is going to come from that. So Jordan, thanks for chiming in. Definitely appreciate that. And to your 5-year-old there, when your mom tells you no, she means it. Okay. So
Was that parent forecasting, Hunter?
I think so. Boy, I'm looking forward to those days to come.
Listen, I can't speak for how girls do things when they're younger, because I don't remember a lot from when I was 5. But boys are always finding new and creative ways to get hurt or get themselves in trouble.
Oh,
Facts. 100%.
Jordan, my boy's 14 and he's still very creative.
I'm 27. I'm about to 27. I still find a way to get hurt myself again.
I was gonna say 38. It hasn't stopped.
I was actually gonna, Hunter, if you don't mind, he also talked about speed reading and obviously the importance of reading. And I know the number one excuse that we have for everybody in here is I don't have the time to read, or I don't like to read, I don't like to do anything. He's not on here, but one of my new agents, he actually mentioned an app to me that I can share with y'all. It's like $1 a month or that way. It's called Headway. And literally it uses AI and uses stuff to be able to summarize all like these major books into like 7 to 14 different key points that you can listen to or you can read. So you literally get like a great summarization of books. If you're like, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to like this book. I don't know if I want to do that. Or I only have 15 minutes a day between carpool to go do things and I can't read while I drive. It's a great application. I've actually really I started using myself, that literally you can, for 15 minutes a day, you can summarize the book. And if you really like that book, then you can go buy it and invest your time into it.
Love that. It's like somebody updated Cliff Notes.
It's exactly, and they use the AI to be able to condense it to the strongest stuff. So
love it. Well, thank you for sharing that, Josh. Definitely check that out. Guys, we are getting to the top of the hour, getting ready to wrap up here. Last thoughts, anybody? Timmy boy, you want to close this down?
No, were we doing rocks, or are we skipping that for next?
Oh, we'll maybe nail that one next time. We're
okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, then yeah, I'm good with that. The whole thing on this self-development, if you're looking at that staircase of progression, right? In self-development, I'll and Hunter, please let me know if this is true. I know I can kind of speak for Paige in this, where when in the unconscious uncompetence, we don't know, and everybody says, hey, we read. It's like, oh, what? I don't read. I don't do that. It's like, because and at that point you don't know what you don't know. And then you start this self-development with getting on the calls and reading and pouring into these calls and participating. And then you just start moving up that ladder to where now I seriously don't think about anything with self-development other than I'm going to do it every day. And it's a massive commitment. And I've never slid off that complacency slide either. So it's important stuff. And this is really cool to go through a book in short form this way at the end, because it brought up so many good memories. And I think that's really, really important for development and growth. So stay consistent. You are worth it. This is for you. The key is consistency, and just go tell yourself that you can do this. Yes, it might not be easy. You might not think, it's super simple, but man, I'll relate it this way, Hunter, and then we can end this. I've started 75 hard, probably 75 times by myself. By myself. and you probably know where I'm going with this. This time, I've got an accountability group that's about 15 to 20 deep, and it makes a huge difference because there is no question whether I'm going to do this or not, because I've got this accountability group, and I don't want to be the one that's, oh, you didn't do that, or what's going, why didn't I don't want that. And when it's just yourself, you talk yourself out of things. When you're in the group, you're going to progress even faster. So that's really the end of that. It's just to make sure you've got a group with you. We're going to help you grow. We're going to help you move. Stay consistent. Keep climbing the stairs, and you'll get to where you want to go. I promise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, love that. And the last thing, guys, I know we're a minute over here, but one last thought I want to leave you with. Jacob Pogue, right? Been with Symmetry since 2013, 11 years in this business. His agency does a little over $35 million annually. Massive organization, great guy. If you ever heard him speak, raise your hand if you guys want Jacob's life. Right? All of us do. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jacob nearly, and he tells this story, he's told it several times on calls and on stage. Jacob nearly quit this business after 3 weeks because he was afraid of the phone. He was afraid of dialing. He almost quit, went back to bartending, and threw in the towel on this. Now, 13 years or 11 years later, right, $35 million agency. And if you ask him what the turning point was, it was a call that he had with Marshall Wayland. And Marshall asked him one question. He said, Jacob, what are you reading right now? And he didn't have an answer to that. And Marshall gave him a couple of books to read. That journey of personal development, that journey of growth, that picking up the first book and then the second and the third and the fourth and on down the line. Guys probably read 250 growth and development books during his journey here, is what created that $35 million a year agency. So the importance of what we're talking about here today, guys, whatever it is that speaks to you, pick it up, start that journey, pick up that first book, get it going, and just set yourself on that same path. So thank you all for being on here today. Thank you to those who shared their thoughts, both on screen and in the chat. Love you all. Have a great week, and we will see you here same time next week.